Welcome back to the Human Nexus podcast. My name is Andrew Brazis. I am a business consultant and private chef.
Welcome back. My name is Miss Laura Machiste. I am an online tarot reader, holistic massage therapist, and energy coach. And today we are talking about Aquarius season and all things Aquarius energy. As usual with our seasoned episodes, we do like to start with kind of where we have Aquarius or what we know about it, and then kind of go on from there. I'll start, I guess.
Yeah,
I actually have Aquarius in my Mercury and my Venus, and they're both in the 11th house of Aquarius. And the stereotype with those placements of Venus, like being your love life, they say you would meet love like through friends, or Aquarius energy like rules like technology and stuff like that, like maybe like social media and stuff. And all my life, that's definitely how I met other people. Like either I was with
interesting.
friends or it was somehow online, whether I knew the person already or not, or just like had like a mutual thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I have no Aquarius placements, zero. But I have dated a lot of Aquarius women, and that has not proved good for me.
Well,
So
you
that
are a
is,
Leo sun.
uh,
So Leo and Aquarius are sister signs, which means you two are the complete opposite. Yet,
mhm,
like the saying opposites attract.
yeah,
So that would make sense of the attraction, but the opposition could make sense of why maybe it didn't do anything.
yeah, yeah, because that's always been a lot of like butting heads. And then now that makes sense because of the opposites part. But it's always like good until it's not. Like it's good until conflict, and as soon as there's conflict, it's not good. And that's been consistent in dating Aquarius women. But
Yeah, I feel like in my experience with Aquarians, I actually really enjoy Aquarius energy. They think outside
mhm,
of the box. They're ruled by
mhm,
Uranus, so like they constantly have that like otherworldly energy where they do things differently or they dress differently, or a lot of the times Aquarius energy will get the stereotype of being like quirky or
mhm,
just maybe their personality doesn't have to be quirky, but like maybe the way they dress is a little bit different, or the way they style their hair, or the way they do their makeup, or the way they cut their hair at the barber, whatever the case may be. Aquariuses usually have either a belief system that's different to society, or a way of being or aesthetic that could be different to then like the norm.
yeah, that makes sense. How does that play into Aquarius season?
So I feel like collectively, when we move through Aquarius season, January like 20th to February 20th, per
Mhm,
se, I would, from somebody who has a lot of Aquarius in their chart and experiences, the seasons of life and has like people around, I feel like Aquarius season collectively could help people do things differently or like go against the grain. Aquarius energy is well known to go against the grain of like societal norms,
mhm,
like do things differently. It's almost like if Aquarius was a person who was driving, they're either speeding past the speed limit or they're like going way too slow. So
mhm.
I feel like there is, still that dual sense of being, but during Aquarius season collectively, definitely a good thing, good time to try something different that either has to do with yourself. Like I would say a lot of people probably cut their bangs in Aquarius season and they're like, oh, let's see
Interesting.
how this is. And
Yeah,
sometimes you'll be like, wow, this was a great choice. And other times you're like, great, now I have to wait for this hair to grow back out. Kind of like the car, like you're too fast, or it's too slow, and
mhm.
maybe where that middle norm of speed
It's
would
is
be.
that is that like an air? Because Aquarius is air, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm reading here, it's the symbolizes the water bearer, which is so it's an air sign, but it's more water focused. Am I wrong here?
So it's funny that you bring that up because I was actually going to bring that up. Like before I
Hmm.
got into astrology, and a lot of Aquarius people that I meet that aren't really into astrology but know that they're an Aquarius think that they're a water sign
Hmm.
because of the aqua. Aqua is a universal thing that means water. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like interesting with that. But they would be considered the water bearer. They have like a jug of water that they hold and they pour. So symbolically, Aquarius people are very good at withholding their emotion, like keeping it
Mm-hmm.
in that jug. But evolved Aquarius energy can know like when to pour that emotion into certain situations. Like in the Moonology deck that I have, the new moon in Aquarius literally says bring love into the situation, which would technically be the water bearer pouring some of the water. So I feel like that definitely goes hand in hand with their, I guess you could say, being a water sign and not being a water sign, because they are technically an air sign,
Mm-hmm.
which I would be thinking that would be considered more of like holding the water opposed to
Yeah.
pouring it. But just like the star card is ruled by by Aquarius,
Mm-hmm.
the star card, the person has 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on earth. So it's like Aquarius knows how to air sign energy keep themselves logically stabilized, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like Aquarius energies also know how to dream too.
Yeah, interesting. The reason why I asked that is because you talked about like the car analogy, like either going really, really fast or going really slow. And we had talked about Geminis having a similar quality. And so that brought me to the question about them being an air sign, because I feel like it's the theme is that's a common air sign thing.
I would say quick worded with the air element involved.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Aquarius could be actually a little bit more patient than any of the other air signs.
Mm-hmm.
And I would only say that because they're the 11th. So they're in that matured number, I guess you could say. They do
Yeah.
say the zodiacs go from like baby to like grandpa, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. So Aquarius would be leaning towards the grandpa energy. So I would say they have a little bit more patience, but sometimes they could be, not doing anything where everything is moving ahead and they're kind of still holding on to that jug of water and they don't know where to pour it.
Yeah.
So I feel like with the air element tied in, I feel like it hones in a little bit stronger for communication than maybe the emotional part of it, because Aquarius has, they can be very, very harsh. And they're not like Sagittarius blunt. They're
Mm-hmm.
like harsh, I mean it, and it sounds cold and it sounds mean, and I'm not smiling, I'm not smirking, nothing.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny you say that because one of the things I'm reading here is it talks about personality traits and weaknesses, emotionally detached, uncompromising, struggle with vulnerability. Like, oh, that's checks out in my
Yeah.
experience. Yeah.
They struggle with like pouring that water. They
Mm,
have it, but it's almost like because it's there and as an air sign with like that mental awareness, it's almost
mm,
like Aquarius may struggle a little bit more with emotional outwardness, which kind of makes no sense because they have that water jug, but it's like
yeah.
because they have somewhere to suppress it. They have somewhere to
Yeah.
like close the lid almost.
Hmm.
Where Gemini doesn't have that tool and Libra doesn't have that tool either.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Which I wouldn't say is a
Um,
tool. I would say it's just something they have.
yeah, it's like a trait of the sign.
Yeah.
And so this falling on, what was it, the 20th of January starting, and you saying it's, you mentioned earlier it's a good time to start like something new or almost impulsive. Maybe that's a strong word.
I would say something different,
Different.
like
Okay.
something that is, and it doesn't even have to be, I guess you could say a majority of the time it would be new,
Hmm.
but it could just be something different. So, say I always record and I only show my hands. Maybe during Aquarius season, I'll have a little umph and put myself on camera.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
something
that
different, but I'm
makes
still
sense.
doing if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because that follows Capricorn season, which our last episode we were talking about how that's I mean, you're kind of setting the stage. And with current Western calendars, we are doing our New Year's resolutions in Capricorn season. But it sounds like that's the time to plan, not necessarily the time to act. Whereas Aquarius
Right.
season's more like it's probably a good time to act.
Yeah, it's a good time to tweak with the acting. Like,
Hmm.
how can I change things up or do things differently, but maybe still not like have a whole new business plan? Like, whole
Hmm.
new business plan is more of like an Aries season vibe.
Hmm.
I feel like Aquarius season gives that action towards changing something and maybe taking a risk. And I feel like Aquarius season has a good amount of, I want to say, risky publicity where you might take a risk with your commercial in
Mhm.
Aquarius season than any other season. And
Like if you take the risk, that's the time to do it.
right.
Yeah.
Like that type of risk that, because Aquarius rules the house of 11, which rules like friendships and like
Hmm.
people, your community. So that's why I say, like, if I was McDonald's or something like that, I would say everybody wants, well, the snack wrap already came back and it was all over the place, and I don't even eat McDonald's, but I know that. Say I was the person, I'm like, all right, like they also want this to come back, but we don't know if everybody wants it to come back. Aquarius season would be a good time to like ruffle the feathers of the community or
Hmm.
give the community what they want. So I feel like that could happen, which is interesting because in Aquarius season, at least in America, which isn't all over the place, we have the Super Bowl, which
Hmm.
are a lot of like, I'm trying to catch your attention commercials.
Yeah, those are like all the new commercials that people are like waiting for, and yeah.
They're
And there's a
waiting to
big,
see, am I going to love it or I'm going to hate it?
yeah. And there's also that big aspect of community.
Right?
I'm seeing themes like innovation and community or two of the themes. And that is, I mean, the Super Bowl using that example, the community aspect of the teams and everything, and then the commercials, I would say is innovation because they're always new, different, or like
Right.
what we're gonna expect for the next year,
And
which is interesting.
that's the perfect word, innovation.
Yeah.
Instead of using the like I guess the new or the different, I feel like innovation is
Mhm.
good word to use for what really Aquarius season holds. And I feel like I hold a lot of, I mean, I don't know if I just understand them because I have it in my energy, but I have a very close friend who is an Aquarius, and like we could just, it's almost like either finish each other's sentences or like read each
Mhm.
other's mind or just like know where we're heading in the conversation before we get there. Like there's like cool, and it's almost so interesting because a fellow strong Aquarian energy almost kind of knows where I'm going to be outside of the box somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you could tell an Aquarius a idea that you have that everybody else told you that that was the weirdest idea ever, and Aquarius would be like, that sounds great, do it.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's funny too how this falls around that same time.
Yeah.
I had a question. The other thing here is intellect, which I think is really interesting. So, how do you think, let's see, your curiosity, deep conversation, mental connection, how does that play into the season?
I feel like for Aquarius season, people will probably dive into a little bit more like conspiracy theories, trying to broaden their hidden knowledge,
Mhm.
knowledge that isn't fully accessible at the library. You know,
Yeah.
like the, I guess, would be in the same theme of doing things different, of saying, like, all right, well, I always researched the past of this or that, but I never looked into aliens. Like, looking into aliens is a very Aquarius thing to do. Looking into like witchy things. I feel like witchy goes hand in hand with Aquarian, and witchy energy gives me more like Scorpio vibes. I
Mhm.
feel like Aquarius gives me more like extraterrestrial vibes where
Interesting.
like are there different planets on is there another
Hmm.
atmosphere like that, get like sciency stuff like intellect things but not maybe just like your regular common things,
Hmm.
which I guess looking at alien stuff has become more common, but
Yeah. And I wondered too, if I remember right, I think our elections typically happen, or sorry, not necessarily elections, but like when a president's announced, it's usually in
Mhm.
that Aquarius season, which kind of
Oh,
maps up,
is it?
matches up with the theme. Yeah.
That's actually something I don't know. I don't really pay attention to politics like at all, but I'm sure you're correct. Which would make sense if they do announce it around that time because then the collective is paying attention to something.
Yeah, the inauguration's on the 20th
Oh, right at the end. Oh,
of
or January.
January.
Oh, yeah, right at
January
the beginning.
20th. So the very beginning, which is
Hmm.
interesting. And that happens, was it every 4 years?
So basically, in Aquarius season, they say who's running and who's the winner all in the same season? No, right?
Well, no, no, no. They would say who's running
During,
previously during in the
oh, okay.
fall, and then January is when the inauguration happens. So that's when they're like,
Sworn in.
yeah, this is when they're getting
Okay.
sworn in. Which, I mean, depending on the the time, that could very much be like a huge change, shake up.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
true. Wow.
that's
And a
really
change
interesting.
for the collective. And I
Hmm.
mean, I know there's could be some people that are watching this that are probably live in different countries, but in America,
Yeah.
just going,
Sorry, I was gonna say, I wonder how that plays into other countries.
right. I wouldn't know. I don't, I
Yeah,
barely know the American one.
yeah. Well, even just like Aquarius season as a whole,
Right.
how's that showing up for people in like, I don't know, Australia or like New Zealand? It's interesting. We need to get some people on.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like Aquarius season two is a very, I feel like it's still whatever season it was. So it's either still winter or
Hmm.
maybe it's fall in the other hemisphere or something like that. And I feel like for a lot of the collective, there's not only just highlight on maybe other people because there isn't so much going on, but there's also probably a highlight with people of their friendship with themselves, especially if it's like the freezing cold of winter and maybe it's snowing and you can't go to this place or go see this person or this, that, and the other. Almost like how you keep yourself entertained and what type of person you are towards yourself, I feel like could be highlighted collectively, no matter where you are in the world during Aquarius season.
Yeah.
I would say most of the Aquarius people that I have met, at least women, are spiritual. Like they're
Mm,
into it, they looked into it.
yeah.
They, I would say Aquarians also, because they're ruled by like the community, society, friends, like the collective energy.
Hmm.
I feel like there also is this sense of, I know a lot of people, and I have Aquarius in my chart too, anxiety is a thing.
Like
My,
specifically for Aquarians.
yeah, maybe I don't know about males, but the Aquarian females that I know all
Hmm.
have like very strong anxiety, actually.
I just realized I have several family members that are Aquarius
Oh,
sons, and the ones that I know do have high anxiety.
I wonder if that's because of the fact that they have the water bearer energy in them and
Yeah.
maybe that like sensitivity is hard to handle because of the
Hmm.
lack of maybe emotional connection or
Hmm.
vulnerability or something like
Yeah.
that. But I don't
If
know.
I
I don't
would
know.
say if I mean just from my own experience, I'm thinking of family members, they were the most anxious when all those things were like super suppressed.
Right.
And then as soon as the suppression stops, the anxiety lifts, which I feel like is like just a general mental health
Mm-hmm.
rule of thumb. But I know for one of them it was, I mean, like ruining jobs and just normal life, and it was a serious issue, which is really interesting because now that I'm learning about Aquarians, all these things are starting to click.
Yeah, my one Aquarius friend is very much like that. Like she'll text me and she'll just say, I have so much to get out. Like I can't wait to see you. And then she'll get it all out. And she'll be like, I feel so much better. And it'll be
Yeah.
like weeks and weeks and weeks of things. I'm like, damn, you got to get an outlet. It
Yeah.
gives you a little bit of more close time to that instead of having to wait weeks. But when she does express, it kind of is like a volcano erupting. It
Hmm.
really is like that. It's like, I'm like, whoa. It's like
Hmm.
angry all over again. It's almost like she's like in
Yeah.
the experience all over again.
Yeah, they're un emptying that cup, or what did you call it?
Right. Yeah. And it's just like
The
the jug is just like, whoop, instead of just
yeah.
like flow. It's like,
Yeah.
no, pour it all out.
Yeah, pour it all at once.
Yeah, so I feel like during Aquarius season, I feel like checking it on your friends is important because they
Mm.
do community. Finding a new community could also be very helpful during an Aquarius season. When I moved into my suite that is in a community of suites, I actually moved in January 28th or something,
That's
right
so
at the
crazy.
yeah, right at the start of
Yeah,
Aquarius
that's
season.
so weird.
And it's crazy because through that community that I moved into, two of the women that you know, one of them,
Hmm.
Audrey, she was on the podcast, and another one, we actually collaborated and made a community. So
Yeah.
it's actually, and which is even crazier because we started that community the next year after I moved in. And I'm pretty sure it was like just after Aquarius season ended, is when we got together and like wrote everything down and stuff like that. So if you have anything that you want to start with your friends or start with another person or something like that, or maybe you're just feeling called to go to a communal space, definitely do it because Aquarius season really, really favors it. As well as, checking in on friends, like I stated before, and really checking in on how you support yourself on that, I would say, platonic friend level in
Hmm.
whatever way, shape, or form, because I know there's some people that do the self love romanticization, which is also good as well. But sometimes, like, really just like having that, you know, Aquarian serious talk with yourself that is sometimes hard to have, I feel like is good around that season as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. And innovation, like we talked about, is
Yeah, trying
good.
things differently.
The other thing I see here that we didn't talk about is humanitarianism. Humanitarianism. That's hard to say for some reason.
Hmm.
So getting involved, helping others. I'm trying to think of how that would fall into Aquarian season outside of maybe Valentine's Day. But I feel like that's,
Yeah, Valentine's is interesting because it's a Hallmark holiday ish.
I
Like,
see.
at least I consider it a Hallmark holiday.
Yeah.
But I feel like there could be a moment of community if there is like a group of people that are all like not with a partner.
Hmm.
Oh, yes, they call it Galentine's Day.
Oh, yeah.
All the gals get together.
Hmm.
I think girls even do it even if they have partners or not. They just do it
Yeah.
with their friend group. I don't know why guys don't
I
have
don't know. I'm sure
Giant
some does.
Valentine's Day or something. But yeah, girls do create community during Aquarius season as Galentine's Day. And they all get together and they do their, I don't know, chocolates and hot chocolates and strawberries or whatever. But yeah, and I find that so interesting that even with a dual holiday that really would Valentine's Day belonging to two, I feel like with those types of things you can make it however you want. Like my
Yeah.
dad, I was his daughter, so I was his Valentine, so like I got things from him. I think it's just more of like, I guess, making sure people are included type of time, especially
Mhm.
if you're in a community setting like that.
Yeah. That's good. That's
Yeah.
really good.
So if
Um,
you have any Aquarius stuff and you're watching this, let us know in the comments below.
yes. And if you're from another country, other side of the world, and you're experiencing similar things around the same time, also let us know.
Yes. And we'll talk to you next time. Happy holidays, happy new year, wherever you are at in the world. And this would have already gone up after that. So hope you had a great holiday and new year.
Yeah. See you guys. Thank you for listening.
Bye.